Lombardi Trophy is heading to Kansas City for the second straight year. Quarterback Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs needed overtime to defeat the 49ers 25-22, but you knew that already. Kansas City has now won 3 Super Bowls in the last 5 seasons. Mecole Hardman, who caught the winning touchdown, spoke to CBS News about that historic catch.
In those type of moments, it's not about how good you is. It's about if you can, perform under that pressure. And the Super Bowl is the biggest game you can play in. And definitely when I caught that ball, I blacked out.
Also shining on the Super Bowl like the Lombardi is the host of the NFL Today on CBS and CBS News special correspondent James Brown in Las Vegas to break down the game. JB, I was bragging about you. I was like, I know him. That's my friend. You and Nate. It was a slow start.
No, hey, Lilia.
Yeah.
No, the bragging comes back at you. I'm thrilled to be your colleague and excited to talk about this. Yes, ma'am.
I'm so glad to have you here because what a game. And, I'm not, a big fan throughout the season, but I'm a massive fan of the Super Bowl. Kansas City showed up when it really mattered. How much do you think that experience factor went behind them pulling it out in overtime?
Make no mistake about it. And you talk about being a casual fan, Lilia, that's a great question because experience did pay dividends in the second half. Look, for most people, they were probably thinking, man, this is a boring first half. But for purists like my colleague, the Hall of Fame coach Bill Cowher, he says this is great because both defenses were playing well. And he says this sets up what is going to be an epic second half. And indeed it was. And talk about how special number 15, Patrick Mahomes, is. He handled it with calm and aplomb, for sure.
Well, I can't say the same for Travis Kelce in that victory speech. All Elvis. He went all Elvis on us. But let's talk again about Mahomes. He is in rare company with his 3rd Super Bowl MVP. Walk us through what that last night means for this very young man's legacy.
And Lilia, for him to do it on a platform, on a stage like that, and he never looked like he was sweating, even though the San Francisco defense did a great job of kind of not really confusing him, but keeping him flustered. They never let him get comfortable in lay terms, if you will, until they picked up the tempo in the second half. He's been there, so he never sweats at all, and he found the right openings. Look, you saw Travis Kelce. He got animated on the sidelines. You saw how he ran up and bumped his head coach, Andy Reid. We wouldn't want the young sports folks out there to be doing that, but passion and excitement on the sidelines is not atypical, and guess what? He went on and performed well because he only had 1 catch up until that point. He wound up with 9 catches, but he also wanted to play the other parts of the game. They knew what this meant, and they got it done. They are now a part of a dynasty in a league that's designed for parity.
JB, talking about passion, just going by my brother-in-law's hysteria last night, I do know that the Niners had some miscues, and that included a blocked extra point. Walk us through their biggest mistakes making that down to the stretch.
You know what, as I was coming over here talking it through with my producer, Alvin Patrick, the EP, of course, of the Racing Culture Unit there, we were talking about how little things matter. And in a game of that magnitude, that closely competitive game up until that point, the little things do matter. That missed field goal, that was an opportunity for San Francisco to be on an emotional high. Instead, they still gave a lot of rope to Patrick Mahomes. The fumble that was recovered by Kansas City. It's the little things that matter. And the one statistic in football that coaches will preach all day long, turnovers. Possessions are precious, and you don't want to give it back to the opposition with turnovers. Those little things certainly did hurt San Francisco down the stretch. But let me just give San Francisco credit. Steve Wilks, the defensive coordinator, masterful game plan in keeping Patrick Mahomes a little off schedule, if you will. Brock Purdy, as much as people wanted to be dismissive, calling him a game manager, no, he was a game executive. He certainly has burnished his reputation right now.
Oh, yeah.
Give him his credit. He can play. He can play.
All right. So can you, James Brown. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Great to have you.
Well, I guess you can tell I'm effusive. I could go all day, but Lilia, thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you back in New York when the